All right. So what's going on here is I'm going to talk about a couple of topics. The main thing we're going to be talking about in this one is just how to solve one-step equations, two-step equations, and multi-step equations in a quick sequence. And then we're going to just do some of the rules for multiplying positive and negative numbers and adding, subtracting positive. Okay, so let me put some problems up, something like this, and something like this, something like this. Okay, so these are one-step equations because one thing is happening to the equation. Okay, so we are looking here, and 5 times x. So 5 and x are multiplying. When a variable is next to a number, they're multiplying. So what's the opposite of multiplying is how you solve this. The opposite of multiplying by 5 is dividing by 5. Whatever is happening to the variable, you are doing the opposite to both sides. Now, if I divide this side by 5, that means I'm multiplying the x by 5 and also dividing the x by 5, which makes the 5 absolutely pointless. So it's gone. But whatever you do to one side, you have to do to the other side. So divide this by 5, and you get 4. This one over here. So x is being divided by 5. Same thing we have to do. We have to do the opposite of whatever's happening to the variable. So we're going to be, instead of dividing by 5, we're multiplying by 5. Cancel, multiply by 5. X equals 35. Okay? This one over here. What's the opposite of adding 2 to the x? We're subtracting 2. So that makes this go away. So we subtract 2 over here, and x equals 1. Over here, what's the opposite of minus 1? Plus 1. Remember, when you're doing the opposite to both, when you're subtracting 1 and adding 1, that means the ones are absolutely pointless. So you scratch them out. So, but whatever you do to one side, you also do it to the other. So plus 1, x equals 6. So on one side of the equation, you're canceling things out, getting rid of them, leaving the variable by itself, because at the end you want x equals something. And then the actual math is occurring on the other side of the equation. Okay? Now, while I erase this, I'll talk about the importance of two-step equations. The important part when you're doing a two-step equation, if I can find my eraser, two-step equation is doing it in the correct order. That's what's important. The correct order. That's what's important. Okay? So, if you're doing it in the correct order, then it's the same as the two-step equation, as the one-step equation. Okay? So, I'm going to put out some problems here. There we go. Okay. And then we'll do, all right, let's do these two problems. Okay. Now, if you can tell here, there are two things happening to the variable now. Now, 3 is multiplying with the x, and then the 5 is subtracting from the x. So two things are happening to the x. Okay. And you have to get rid of one of these first. Now, one of the methods is to think of it as order of operations in reverse. Okay, so SADMEP, okay? So you do that stuff first. So subtraction and addition would be the first things you get rid of. So I'm going to be getting rid of the minus 5 first. So adding 5, gone, okay? Then adding 5 on this side, you're actually doing math, so we're left with 15. Now this side, how do you get rid of the 3? What's the opposite of multiplying by 3? Because that's what it's doing. We divide by 3, cancel. Divide by 3, x is all by itself, and it equals 5. Because 15 divided by 3 is 5. This one over here. So, again, order of operations. But remember, when an equation is in a fraction, it has this imaginary parentheses that they're not telling you about. So the top is in parentheses, and the bottom is. Okay? So what are we going to do? We are going to get rid of the 3 first. Okay, because you would do remember we're doing SADMEP, so parentheses stuff is last. We're doing subtraction, addition, okay? Then we're doing multiplying, division. Division's here before the parentheses. So multiply by 3. So now I'm dividing by 3 and multiplying by 3, which makes it pointless. But I have to do the multiplying 3 on this side. I'm left with x plus 2 equals 24. Then I got to get rid of the plus 2. Minus 2, minus 2, x equals 22. Okay? Talk fast and stuff. You can slow down the speed. It's a YouTube video, so we get 0.75 if I talk too fast. All right, I'm going to do one more. I'm going to do one multi-step equation, and then I'll do the rules for adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing integers. Integers are positive and negative numbers. All right, so let's see here. I'm going to write, and then, okay, that's a horrible written number, but we'll go with it. Okay, I'll say it out loud so you can read it. 8x plus 5 equals 6x plus 37. So there are 2 x's here, which is different than everything we've shown before. So now what we're going to do is balance this equation by getting rid of one of the x's. I recommend to always get rid of the smaller one. So if I actually grab all 6 x's and I get rid of them on this side, okay, so minus 6x, these are now gone. There's no more x's on this side, so now I'm left with just 37. But whatever you do to one side, you're going to do to the other. So I have to remove 6 x's from this side of the equation, which leaves this at 2x plus 5. Now we have to do the order of operations in reverse, so we're getting rid of the plus 5, that's minus 5. Then 2x equals 32. Divide by 2, x equals 16 in this equation. Okay? Really simple, not too bad. Adding some, now integers. The rule for multiplying and dividing positive and negative numbers is if the sign's the same, it's positive. If the signs are different, it's negative. That's it. So if I did equations like this, and so with these rules, if the signs are the same, it is positive, and if the signs are different, it is negative. Okay? Remember, if it has no sign in front of it, it's a plus. It's a positive. So these signs are different, so we know the answer is negative. These signs are the same. Remember, this is a dot. These signs are the same, so that's going to be positive. These signs are different, so the answer is going to be negative. Then I just multiply. 3 times 5, 15, so that makes negative 15. This is going to make 16, and this is also going to make 16, but this one's going to be negative. Okay, easy idea. Remember that this is not the same rule as the adding, subtracting rule. For adding and subtracting, slight differences. So, negative 3 plus 5 is 1. negative 8 minus 2. And then 7 minus 12. There we go. Okay. So these are examples to follow the rules. There are 2 rules for adding, subtracting. The rule for the sign is the number furthest away from 0 controls the sign. So for here, now look, this is the way you're looking at the numbers. That is a negative 3, and that is a positive 5. That's the way you're going to look at it. And if there's no sign in front of it, it's a positive. Okay? So I'm including the center parts as part of the number at the end when you're adding, subtracting. So for this one is, which one of these two, a negative 3 or a positive 5? Which one is furthest away from the 0? The positive 5, which means this answer is going to be positive. Which one of these 2 numbers is furthest away from the 0? The negative 8, right? The negative 8 is farther away from the 0 than the negative 2, which means this answer is going to be negative because the 8 is negative. Same thing here. I have a positive 7 and a negative 12. The negative 12 is furthest away from the 0, so this answer is going to be negative. So if you're the kind of person that does these and gets the sign wrong every time, This will now make sure that the sign is correct every single time. Now, if the signs are different, you're just going to add those two numbers together and put it next to whatever the sign is. If the signs are the same, well, if they are different, you're subtracting them. I've gone crazy. If they are different, you are subtracting the numbers. If they are the same, you're going to be adding them and putting them next to whatever the sign is. Same thing with the subtracting. So here, 3 and 5. I got to subtract a 3 and a 5. It's probably easier to do 5 minus 3. So the answer is 2. That is correct. Here, the signs are the same, which means I'm going to add them. So 8 and 2, that makes it 10. Negative 10. That is correct. Here, the signs are different, so I'm going to subtract them. 7 and 12. That makes no sense. What about 12 and 7? Oh, it does. The answer is 5, negative 5. And these are all correct. Follow these rules every single time. You get the answer right every single time. Okay? There's other methods of learning this things, but these are the rules of it. You could just understand it. Oh, if you lose $7 and then lose $3, you've lost $10. So negative 10. Things like that. There's a lot of different ways to understand it, and many adults understand it just understanding it. It just makes sense. Negative money makes sense as an adult, but not as a kid. If you have $10 in your pocket when you started the day and you lost $3, how was your day? You're gonna be like, well, I'm still up 7. You're like, and you ask an adult to be like, no, you're down 3. So there is a difference. And that's it for today. Okay, see you guys.